My name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today we are doing the Why Haven't I Read This Book tag. So first off, I have to acknowledge that I'm outside, so you probably are hearing bird noises. I hope the audio quality is okay. Also, the sun is it's 5 o'clock, 5:30, and so the sun is going down past the roof of my, so it's sunny here, but not, so we're just vibing. But I feel like it's very green. This is my cat fern. We're vibing. What was the other thing I had to say? Oh, the other thing was that Ruby tagged me in this video. Ruby from Ruby Red. And she just posted it today, and I just got so excited I had to film it right away. I will tag her, of course, and the original creator of the tag down below. But her video was so fun, and she said that she's interested in books on my physical TBR that I have not read. And that is because I have a very small physical TBR. I very rarely acquire books. I almost never buy books. I will get gifted books sometimes. I will get books out of little free libraries. There's a free library shelf at my laundromat, stuff like that. But I sometimes buy books used, but I hardly ever buy new books. And so I own kind of a weird collection of books because it's just whatever I've acquired over the last however many years. So yeah, I have a very small physical TBR. My immediate physical TBR is between 10 and 15 books. And then I have another maybe 8 that are, and several of these are from that list that are not on my immediate to read list, but I still own them and I haven't read them. They're just more bucket list books for farther in the future, they're in a different part of the shelf for me. So some of these are from my immediate TBR shelf, some of them are from my longer term TBR shelf, but yes. And also I'm just gonna give you a little spoiler right now that this is not just a Why Haven't I Read these books, it's also a tour of the longest books on my shelf, because generally the reason I haven't read them is because they're really long. So, yes, that's where we're at. That's that. I'm just gonna get into it. There are 5 categories. I have them all right here. It's a tall stack of books, but I'll show you it all at the end and take a cute little thumbnail maybe. Maybe a thumbnail with the spines facing backwards so you can't even see. That would be scandalous. Anyway, the first category is a classic. Why have I not read this classic? And the book I have chosen is Middlemarch by George Eliot. I got this monster in a little free library in my hometown when I was living there during COVID, I think. And I definitely want to read this, but this is very much a bucket list book. Not while I'm in school, probably not in the next year while I'm doing a new job and stuff. I need to be settled in my life to sit down and read this book, because it is just a gigantic classic. The biggest classic ever, except War and Peace. A big classic. And I'm super interested in it. I think I would really enjoy it. And also, one of my favorite podcasts, Alice Isn't Dead, which was a fiction podcast. It was 3 seasons, I think, and now it's a book as well. And during one of the seasons, as their was it their closer or before the ad break? Anyway, they used quotes from this in the podcast, and I really loved that, and that got me interested in this book. So when I saw it in a little free library, I grabbed it. But that is a classic that I have not read, and honestly, probably won't read within a year, or maybe 5. We'll see. The next category is a fiction book. Why have I not read this fiction book? And it's another little free library pick. I've gone with One Day by David Nichols. Now, this is the shortest book that I picked out for today. It's only this long. It's also a beat up copy from a little free library, but that's fine. It's kind of dirty on the back. Don't worry about it. It's got the movie cover. But this, I haven't read it because I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. I think I had heard one good thing about it, and I saw it in the little free library, so I grabbed it. And it's not that long, but like, why does a book like this need to be this long, is my question. So I don't know if I'm gonna, maybe I'll unhaul it eventually, but since I don't have very many books, I'm like not a huge unhauler. It's like not a big priority for me. So it's kind of just like, I'll get to it eventually, maybe, or maybe I won't. I just don't know if I'm gonna like it. So that's why I haven't picked it up. Up next is why have I not read this nonfiction book? And I had a lot of choices for this because when I was in high school, I was like really into history, and in college I was a history major, and I was in high school, but I was like living at home in high school, and I was really into history, and I was like, my parents, my dad specifically, were really trying to like foster that interest in history. And so whenever he went to a thrift store, he would always come home with these used history books for me. So I have like 6 or 7 giant biographies. And I just picked one. And I do intend to get to them eventually. But probably not more than like one a year, and there's like 7 of them. But this is the one that I picked. That was a long intro to the one I picked is Margot Fontaine, A Life. This is a ballet book because I did ballet for many years. And I think it would be fascinating. I also have a dance degree in addition to my history degree. So like dance history is something I'm really interested in. And so I think this would be great. Chunky biography, so it hasn't happened yet. I think one of my neighbors came out on their balcony, like maybe below me in the patio, and I'm nervous. Now I'm self-conscious. I'm insecure. Whatever. Up next we have why have I not read this genre book? And I have chosen a fantasy. There's a lot of fantasies that I have not read. There's a lot of books I haven't read. That's the great thing about reading. There's so many books. Anyway, this is The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. Oh, is this? Wait. I thought I saw writing in this copy. Oh. Okay, so there's a note in the front cover, addressed to my dad's name. I don't know, like, I don't recognize this name in the signature, but also it's dated December 1991. So my dad must have gotten this as a gift while he was in grad school. Either that or this is a thrift store copy, and it's just addressed to some other John, because, like, not an uncommon name. But, this book, is huge. It's, like, a large physical object. And it's also just like a lot of pages with small text. So on theme of these are very long books, this is an Arthurian retelling, and someone that I respect greatly one time said it was her favorite book. And also my brother read it and liked it, said that it like was a trek to get through, but liked it. So I'm definitely interested in reading it eventually is the theme of this video. But it's a big one. I haven't read it yet because it feels like it's gonna take months, and I like don't have the attention span for that right now, I guess, or like there's too many other things that I want to be reading at a quicker pace. The Mists of Avalon. And finally, we have why have you not read this book that has been on your TBR the longest, on your shelf the longest? And I wasn't quite sure. I knew it was like most of, if not all of the fiction that I have on my unread physical TBR is I got like since I went to college. I think most of it I got like the year I was living in my hometown for COVID, because there were a lot of little free libraries around there at that time in that town, and I just would go around to all of them and like pick up books, and I would put books back that I had read. I did the whole little free library thing a lot that year. But the non-fictions that I previously mentioned, having come mostly from my dad from thrift stores, I didn't know which one was the oldest, but I picked another one that I have a story about, and it's another ballet book, ballet history book, and it's called I Was a Dancer by Jacques d'Amboise, and it is about Jacques d'Amboise. It's a memoir rather than I think it's an autobiography, that I said it was by him, and I know it's about him, therefore it has to be. I'm clearly not thinking straight, but it's a memoir about Jacques d'Amboise, who was a Balanchine dancer, and he founded the National Dance Institute in New York, which I actually did a summer intensive at in 2013. So I think my dad bought me this book shortly after that, or like within a couple years of that, because I had I worked with his daughter, Charlotte d'Amboise, I think it's his daughter, yeah, and I met him, but he was like in his 80s at that time. So yes, this book, again, I will read eventually, along with all the other giant biographies that I have. It is also quite large, but it's a nice copy. I like this blue dust jacket. Nice white hardback, and hot take, I like deckled edges. So, and this has deckled edges. So, that is the final book that I have to talk about in this video. Those are 5 books that I have not read that are on my shelf, and the reasons why, kind of, mostly that they're long. And that's why, just that they're long. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I am going to tag Just Martine from Just Martine, and Kayla from Kayla Ray Reads. I'm just going to tag those two, because they're book besties that have not already been tagged by Ruby. So, yeah. That's this video. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a note in the comments with what's a big book that you have on your shelf that you've been putting off, because that's the theme of this video. And I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye!